On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, another tanker carrying Russian oil is sinking, this time off the coast of Africa. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano, and welcome to today's episode. So we've been following the trials and tribulations of the tankers up in the Black Sea. Did a video the other day where we discussed two tankers that were attacked by Ukrainian Sea Baby drones out on the water. These were formerly Gambian flag vessels, but Gambia removed the registry, so they were stateless vessels, attacked by the Ukrainians, subsequently abandoned, and now are under salvage, or actually abandoned and hopefully under salvage, up in the Black Sea. We haven't really gotten an update on them. Now we have reports of not one, but two other potential attacks against Russian shadow fleet and Russian tankers. We're going to break this apart for you and see what we know and what we don't know about this. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. So this is a story from G Captain Mike Scholler on November 29th. Ukrainian drone strike set two Russian shadow fleet tankers ablaze off of Turkey. And again, we cover this extensively in our previous video. Now, a lot of comments I got on my video regarding that. I want to clarify an issue. I said this was an escalation. The Russians and Ukrainians have been hitting each other's ports consistently. In the process, they have hit ships. Ukraine has specifically targeted Russian naval vessels, and they've done a good job at hitting Russian naval vessels. I got to take you all the way back to Moscow in 2022. The Russians have also hit Ukrainian ports. They have literally hit the ports of Odessa and in and around the Danube, and in that they have struck vessels that are in ports. We also have a strike on a vessel leaving the port of Ukraine back in September of 2024, the Aya. So the reason I call this an escalation is because of this. The Ukrainians intentionally struck these two vessels out in international waters. These ships were empty. They were in ballast, heading to Russian ports to load. This is remarkably different. What we've seen so far on vessel strikes is usually hitting ships that are in port or ships that have left port, or ships that are directly connected either to the Russian Navy or Ukrainian flag vessels. These are not. These formerly Gambian flag vessels are part of what is known as the Russian Shadow Fleet. These are ships that are carrying Russian oil or diesel fuel over the price cap set by the G7 and the EU. And this is an escalation for the very specific reason in that if the Ukrainians are specifically targeting ships heading to Russia, then Russia may take the next step to target vessels heading to Ukraine. Let's not also forget, too, the Russians have other weapons they can use in this. While the Ukrainians have their sea drones, Russians have Kilo submarines. This is a horrific war, and I'm looking at it from the maritime dimension. So I just want to clarify that real quick. So let's go to this story about the tanker Merson off the coast of Dakar, Senegal. Here's the Reuters story. Senegalese authorities are racing to prevent a potential oil spill after water entered the engine room of the Panamanian-flagged oil tanker Merson near Dakar's coast, the port authorities said on Sunday. This is video filmed of the vessel. The incident, which led to the vessel issuing a distress signal, occurred overnight from November 27 to the 28th, prompting the deployment of tugboats and specialized team from Senegal's Navy and Maritime Authority. All crew members were safely rescued with no reported injuries. Authorities are working to stabilize the vessel, prevent hydrocarbon leaks, and mitigate environmental risks. Images of the vessel shared online shows its stern close to the waterline, which could indicate it's carrying a full cargo or experiencing flooding. This ship is experiencing flooding. It's flooding its engine room specifically. It is fully laden. It had come out of Russia 2 months ago and had been sitting off Dakar for 2 months. Now, what makes this really interesting is, according to the ship's crew, there is a report of explosions, up to 4 explosions, and the vessel began to flood. When you look at the images of the ship, you can see right here that the ship is so low in the water. This indicates, again, the after compartment, which is the engine room, is flooding. You can also note here, too, there is no visible light showing, so there's no power to the vessel. So let's take a look at this vessel and see if it meets the criteria of a shadow fleet vessel. So we head over to marine traffic. So Merson is a 16-year-old vessel. Most shadow fleet vessels are over 15 years old. Under the flag of Panama, Panama flag is an indication that it's not a shadow fleet because the main ship registries, Panama, Liberia, Marshall Islands, have been cleaning off dark fleet vessels off their registry. 50,000 tons, not a very large vessel here, 183 meters. The vessel left Russia, specifically the port of Taman, back on August 21st and arrived in Senegal on September 25th. So again, the ship's been sitting there for 2 months off the coast waiting to offload. If we look at ownership of the vessel, the ship is owned by a Turkish company, Besiktas Limited. Again, this is not a good indication that it is a shadow fleet vessel. It's operated by the registered owner is Merson Shipping out of Panama. So again, not a clear indication. If we come over to the compliance feature here of marine traffic, we're not getting any real big indications here. The ship is classified with the Korean registry. It has a P&I club through North Standard. It's meeting all the really requirements. Ship has undergone port state control. There's been 10 inspections since 1st of January 2022. So nothing is really kind of indicating here that this is a shadow fleet vessel, besides the fact that it loaded in Russia. And understand, you can load cargo in Russia without a problem. Now, the red flag here for me is the fact it's been sitting there for 2 months. Why is the vessel sitting there 2 months? Now, tankers will sit for prolonged periods of time waiting for a market to sell their cargo to, hoping for higher prices. But again, one of the features we do see here is, are we sure that these explosions were external to the vessel and not issues with the operation of the vessel? Then we have this story. Another Reuters story over GCAP. Russian flag tanker reports drone attack off Turkey, authorities say. Russian flag tanker loaded with sunflower oil reported a drone attack off the Turkish coast on Tuesday, but its 13 crew members were unharmed, Turkish maritime authorities and the Tribeca shipping agency said. The vessel Milvolga 2 reported coming under attack 80 miles off the Turkish coast, but did not make a request for assistance and was proceeding toward Turkey's Sinop port, Turkish maritime authorities directive said on X. Tribeca said the ship had been attacked by a drone. It was not immediately clear who had attacked the ship, and Turkey's maritime affairs director did not provide additional details. In response to attacks in the Black Sea on ships in the Russian shadow fleet, President Vladimir Putin threatened to sever Ukraine's access to the sea, adding Moscow would intensify strikes on Ukrainian facilities and vessels and take measures against tankers of countries that help Ukraine. The maritime authority said the ship was sailing from Russia to Georgia, while Tribeca said it was bound for Merson. Both said the ship was now en route to Sinop without assistance. Turkey has also demanded navigation safety in the Black Sea, where it shares maritime borders with Russia and Ukraine. So I am no expert on aerial drones. Listen, I'm a shipping guy. I do boats. I do that. Don't do aerial drones. A lot of people out there who do aerial drones. That is the material they collected on there. They showed the damage to the vessel. I don't know. This is on the southern side of the Black Sea. This is the information for Milvolga 2, 11-year-old vessel flagged in Russia, 6,573 tons. This is the AIS track for Milvolga 2. It's not good. Obviously, it had an AIS off, plus we got a lot of spoofing going on in the area. We believe she was up here along the northern shore of Turkey, heading over to Georgia over here. So this is a pretty good distance from Ukraine. So I do have questions about this, but again, I think it's the response coming out of Putin that's the most dangerous, is that if Putin sees a coordinated assault against Russian shipping, then he may strike the shipping coming out of Ukraine. So quick snapshot here of the Black Sea. So you'll see Russian ships coming out of the Don River. It's trailing through the Sea of Azov. The big, huge anchorages here off Kerch, off Novorossiysk, and throughout the coast here of Russia. You can see red represent tankers. These are those tankers that are heading here, heading toward the port. Blue dots right here, these are probably the salvage tugs working one of those vessels off the coast right now. But here you notice off of Ukraine, there are no ships. These are navigation buoys and markers right here. But what you do have here is off the coast of Romania, right here at the Danube, a massive anchorage full of vessels. What we know is ships that are heading up into Ukraine come into this anchorage. They sit here, they turn their AIS off, they disappear, and then a few days later they pop back in here. They are heading up here to Odessa and the ports in and around this region. So the fear here is if Ukraine is striking vessels, and we know where they hit vessels previous to this, is right here before and then over here, then the Russians will have very little problem striking out here and potentially hitting this massive anchorage off the Danube, which would be a problem as it's within Romanian territorial waters. But again, we haven't seen a lot of hesitation right now. Plus, those ships would have to sail out into international waters at some point or head northward here into Ukrainian national waters. So this is the escalation that is of concern. So last story I want to talk about is one by Jonathan Sauls over at Reuters, and I think it's the most interesting one we have here. Black Sea war risk insurance jumps after drone strikes on sanctioned tankers. Now, to sail into a contested area, which the entire Black Sea is, you have to get what's called AP, additional protection, or war risk insurance. You pay an insurance above and beyond the value of the vessel. So you pay for hull and machinery insurance, H&M, and then you pay for P&I, protection indemnity. War risk is above that. So if you get damage due to war, this insurance covers it. The story says war risk rates for typical 7-day voyage period, which are set by individual underwriters, are based on the value of the ship, rose to 0.5% for calls to Ukrainian ports from 0.4% over a week ago, shipping and insurances said. War risk insurance for Black Sea ports, which is typically higher, was quoted at between 0.65 to 0.8% versus around 0.6% last week. So what we had seen during the height of the Houthi attacks is war risk insurance escalated from 0.02% to 1%. Not as high here. I should also note that the value of the ships in the Black Sea are substantially lower than what you see going through the Red Sea. You don't have 24,000 TEU, 20-foot equivalent unit container ships. What you see is small bulk carriers going through, and these bulk carriers can range anywhere from $10 to $100 million. So if you have a $10 million container ship sailing through the Black Sea and you got to pay a 0.05% war risk insurance, that's $50,000. That is not a lot of money that is coming out. Now, if this war risk insurance escalates, and if they require more, because again, it's only for a 7-day period, some ships are sitting and waiting for long periods of time. One of the reasons why the ships were milling around in the southern Black Sea is because that was not one of the designated war risk areas. It was the northern Black Sea. It was the area in and around Russia and the area in and around Ukraine. So you stay out of the war risk area, you zip in, load, and zip out, so you're within the 7-day window. If that area now increases and covers the entire Black Sea, then that becomes a major problem. Also, as bigger ships come in, larger ships come in, we've seen the return of container ships to Ukraine. We've got container ships going into Russia there. Higher value ships create a bigger problem. If this war risk insurance isn't for a $10 million ship, but a $100 million ship, then you start getting to $500,000. And if that war risk goes up from 0.05% to 1%, well, now you're starting to talk about some serious money right here. Jonathan continues, the Black Sea incidents point to a campaign by Ukraine to restrict Russian oil revenue, which was shaping underwriters' assessment of intent and capability, said Monroe Anderson, head of the operations at Marine War Risk and insurance specialist Vessel Protect, part of Penn Underwriting. He said, rates have firmed in line with that view. For Russian port calls, underwriters are pricing in a broader range of possible strike locations and a higher likelihood of repetition. Story goes on, the latest Black Sea incidents were the first attacks on non-military, non-Russian flag vessels in international waters, says Andrei Rednikov, a naval analyst and former deputy chief of staff of the Ukrainian Navy. He said it was unlikely that Russia would retaliate against commercial shipping heading to Ukraine when it was in the territorial waters of Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania, as that would amount to an attack on NATO territory. I should note that has done squat so far to get any reaction from NATO. He then talks about the mysterious blasts that have been happening to ships around the world. There have been at least 7 blasts on separate tankers that called at Russian ports since December of 2024, including locations in the Mediterranean. He then talks about the Merson off the coast of Africa. So escalation in war risk, escalation in the scope and scale of attacks. The real big question here is, what does Russia do next? Does Russia start targeting vessels in Ukrainian waters going to and from Ukraine? They have hit ships. Aya coming out of Ukraine back in September of 2024. They just recently hit an LNG carrier in the port of Ismail. They've hit the port of Odessa. But a lot of those attacks with drones have been against the port infrastructure, and it's not exactly clear if they were going for the port infrastructure or the ships. Russian accuracy isn't always the best. However, if they start a coordinated attack against ships going to and from Ukraine, that's all different. That is going to be the next major escalation that we see in the conflict. And what happens is the Black Sea could potentially erupt into the Persian Gulf of the 1980s when we had the tanker war between Iran and Iraq. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment, share it across social media, and if you can, support the page. How do you do it? You hit the super thanks button down below or head on over to Patreon and become a monthly, yearly subscriber. Till the next episode, Sal, signing off.